only thing better than a pistol is a rifle. The only thing better than a rifle is a pistol and a rifle. That's what we're going to talk about today as I give you the 7 best rifle pistol combos. Now, I was able to come up with a good variety here and also keep the brands together. So when I show you maybe a PDW or a pistol, they will be from the same manufacturer to kind of keep everything in line. At least for the most part, I'm going to do that. Now, I'm excited to give you my list here, but I of course want to hear from y'all. What are the best combos that you think as far as rifles or pistol or whatever combos you want to come up with? Maybe I'll use them in a part 2 if you guys like this video. And if you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now let me show you the first one here, which is the CZ Bren 2 MS. This is a 9-inch pistol. It's got the pistol brace on the back. We have an adjustable gas system, 9-inch barrel here. It has backup sights straight from the factory. We have M-lock slots up here. It's got a modular front end. We have a side charging handle. So no matter if you want to work it like that, or if you want to drop the bolt, there's a little lever in the front of the trigger guard where we can actually drop that bolt, which is really nice. We can lock the bolt back with that, or we can drop it, or you actually have a standard bolt release right there on the side like an AR. Magazine release is right there, ambidextrous, again, just like an AR. 45-degree throw on the safety, really easy to get to from both sides. Shell deflector, side charging handle doubles as a forward assist. SP Tactical brace in the rear, rocking the Trijicon 4x32 on here. And, you know, I actually took this out to compare it to the MCX Spear LT, which is actually a rifle. And this thing it's just so smooth, man. It is super accurate and very smooth. And so, you know, I am a big believer that, you know, there's a certain limitation, obviously, to PCCs and PDWs. And so I was going to put the 3+ Scorpion carbine in this place, but I just find this more useful than a lot of the PCCs. That's a separate video I'm going to talk about. But there's a certain point where a pistol with a brace is actually better than a full-length carbine in 9mm. Hit.
Yep. There you go. That's it, baby.
Yeah.
Come right. There you go. Yep. Yep.
All right, I'm going to try to go to 400.
All right.
And so I really love this thing, man. I just think it has a lot of utilization, home defense. If you're doing long-range shooting, 7.62, 5.56, whatever. But this is a really good home defense rifle, and it's actually a good type of truck gun. They're kind of expensive, but there was only one pistol that I thought would pair perfectly with the CZ Bren 2, and that would be the CZ Shadow 2. This gun is on a whole nother level. I mean, it really is. I think I named this video, I ignored this gun for far too long or something, because it is absolutely stunning. It's just beautiful, and it's one of the best shooting pistols I own. Blacked out rear sight that is adjustable. We have the front red fiber optic right there. You see those blue sapphire grips on there. It just looks really good. You have, of course, the checkering on the front and the back strap, kind of like a high-end 1911. We have it a little bit on the trigger guard right here, double to single action. And I'll tell you, man, this is one of those guns that just absolutely impressed me this year so much that I love putting it in videos because it is that freaking good. We actually do have a safety right there that's ambidextrous, and then, of course, we can drop the slide like that. Now, if you don't know anything about the CZ Shadow 2, it rides on the inside of rails as opposed to on top of the rails. I talk more about this in my review and stuff, but that essentially keeps the muzzle down on this gun. Plus the weight really helps as well. So when it comes to a gun, a pistol that shoots really well and would combine well with a CZ Bren 2 or the CZ Scorpion, the CZ Shadow 2 is on a whole nother level. You know, there's guns I love, and then there's guns I really love. And the SP5 is one I really love. And any MP5 variant will fit this role nicely. But the real MP5 from HK is made on the same line as the full auto MP5s. Unfortunately, we can't have, well, we could have those if you got a bunch of money in the United States and special licensing and blah, blah, blah. But if you want a semi-auto version and you don't want to have to worry about all that stuff, the SP5 is amongst one of the best because it is the MP5. Woo! And so there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. It's a really old design, but it's so intuitive. One of my favorite things, and I think this is pretty much universal in the HK world, is the fact that we can just slap that charging handle down and work it just like that. We actually have a dual purpose muzzle device. So we have the 1/2x28 threads, or we have a tri-lug adapter here in the front. It does come with, of course, the iron sight straight from the factory. Mounting optics can be a little wonky. I actually bought a piece of 1913 rail to attach here, but it's really small. I have, what, 1, 2, 3 slots. So I got to find me a little tiny red dot to work with this thing and get it up over that front post. But other than that, it really is very nice, man. We got the paddle style HK release on the back of the magazine there, so we can just pull that right out. This thing comes with an awesome case as well. Got the SP Tactical brace on the back here. It is folding, so we got a nice compact package. It will work like that too if you want it. And overall, I really love shooting this thing. It is so awesome. Actually, I'm about to take it out to the range again here soon because we won the pistol brace debacle, and cannot wait to get this thing back out along with my other PDWs because I really do love this thing, man. It doesn't have the best trigger. It has a really good safety, by the way, but these things are so smooth. I mean, it just really is on a whole nother level. And like I said, you can do a lot with them. The SP5 or any MP5 variant will work. So what would match well with that? The HK VP9 Tactical. When it comes to striker fire guns, amongst one of the best. Now, it does have the German style paddle magazine release, which I'm a fan of. I don't really use this gun in a defensive situation, but I also don't find that I would be like so discombobulated that I couldn't figure this gun out. I would practice with this if I were using it in that role, like an outside the waistband or something like that, or even for competitions. I would definitely take some extra time with it. But overall, man, it's such a smooth gun, and it has one of the better triggers when it comes straight from the factory. Blacked out sights on this one, luminescent front sight. Of course, we have lightning cuts there in the front of the slide, Picatinny rail, and we have the extended mags. What's cool about these pistols too is not only do they have ambidextrous controls, but you have the back strap and you have the side panels that you can adjust depending upon your hand size. So it really is fully customizable to you. This one is optics ready, but the VP9 and the SP5 go together like peanut butter and jelly. Now I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to show you a pistol first this time. You'll see why here in a minute. And you'll also see why I chose the metal version of the M&P. But any version of the M&P since the first and really second iteration, they've done a good job. And what I find is that most people, when I mention an M&P as being a really good carry gun as far as the Shield Plus or being a really good home defense pistol, competition, anything like that, they're like, really? An M&P? And I'm like, dude, when's the last time you actually shot or handled an M&P? Well, back in, I don't know, one of the first generations. I'm like, dude, they've changed a lot since then. I think people have expected, or, if you don't keep up with this stuff a lot, you kind of expect just an M&P, but they've done a lot of good things. Of course, they still have the interchangeable back straps, but one of the biggest things is the flat face trigger. And this really helps with consistency when you're shooting at the range. It was one of the biggest detriments of the original M&P, and they have fixed that. They fixed it with the M2.0, so if you want to save some money, you can do that, of course. But the new flat face trigger is superior in almost every way, unless you have a really tuned PC M2.0 trigger. I've showed that before too. Front and rear slide serrations. These slide serrations come all the way up so you can do your press checks. It is optics ready. And when it comes to just a balanced, relatively inexpensive, the M&P metal is up there a little bit, but you got to think about this too. It's an aluminum frame. It has that tungsten gray Cerakote. It's optics ready, of course, so they've done a lot of nice things with this gun. But M&Ps generally, you can get them in a whole wide range of prices that can fit your budget no matter what that is. The M&P metal is one of the most impressive guns that I've shot this year, or one of the most impressive pistols that I've shot this year. The competitor would fit that role really well too. But why did I choose the M&P metal specifically? Let me show you. It actually goes perfectly with my Meta Tactical Apex. So these are really cool, and you don't have to do any paperwork. You take your standard pistol, no matter if you have a Glock, Palmetto State Armory, Smith & Wesson, or Shadow Systems. You take the factory barrel out, you put the 16-inch barrel in. It has a latch back here in the rear, and so you just open this up, you slide the pistol in with the new barrel, you close it, and there you go. Uses the same factory mags. They have a variety of different attachments and stuff. You can get a forward grip that actually can hold another magazine if you want that. I actually have the hand stop underneath and then the thumb rest up on the side, so I can just boom, mount up just like that. I find that the most comfortable, but it has M-LOK rails on the side, on both sides, ambidextrous bolt release right there, and then ambidextrous magazine release in the rear, right? And it uses your factory M&P trigger, which is really nice. So this is actually connected to that trigger. So the same pull that you get on your pistol is on your rifle. And again, no paperwork is required for something like this. It actually has a shell deflector right there. They come in a multitude of different colors and stuff, and they're discounted through my channel because it's not a firearm. It's a piece of plastic. But when paired with your favorite pistol, that piece of plastic turns into one of the coolest little bullpup PCCs that you can actually buy. And to me, this is the perfect rifle pistol combo with the Meta Tactical Apex. Now, speaking of bullpups, here is the Hellion rifle from Springfield Armory. This is based on the VHS-2 rifle that is used by the Croatian military. It's used by special forces in Iraq, I believe. And so it's a pretty popular rifle in other countries abroad. And so what makes it interesting, obviously it being a bullpup, if you don't know anything about this, just a really quick rundown. Instead of having the action in front of the trigger like a traditional AR, it has the action in the rear. So that gives you two things: an overall very short length, still considered a rifle, and you get a 16-inch barrel still, so you retain that velocity. And you don't have to SBR them, even though the overall length is way shorter than a traditional rifle. Give you an idea of what that looks like. I got them lined up at the bottom, and you can see how much shorter it actually is. It's got a reversible ejection setup, so no matter if you're a left or right-handed shooter. We have an ambidextrous bolt release, so it actually runs parallel with the top rail, and then you just pull it out, boom, work it just like that. We have our bolt release in the rear, just kind of pinch that backwards, and there you go. Ambidextrous safety all the way around. This gun is fully ambidextrous. You can see I have that forward grip on there, a little bit smaller. I really like the way that feels. Adjustable gas system. So if you want to run some kind of suppressor on here, you have normal and then suppress mode. It's got integrated backup sights, which run flush with the rail, so you can run them just like that. M-LOK rails up front, and overall just a really cool gun. It's got an adjustable stock right there for your length of pull, so no matter who you are, you can definitely run this rifle. It's actually got the BCM gunfighter grip right here, super ergonomic. I'm going to pull that in just a little bit like that, and overall it is a really, really nice rifle. It's actually got QD slots for your sling attachments, got a sling attachment up front on both sides, and then the magazine release is right behind where the mag sits, so you can easily work that. The battery of arms is different. It is really different on this gun. Whereas the X95 has some AR style controls-ish. It doesn't make any sense at all. But, you know, the X95 at least has the magazine release that's in a traditional spot. This one all the way around is very different. And so some people kind of, you know, just stay away from rifles like that because of this, which I understand. If you're used to shooting ARs and stuff, it can be a pretty wild transition to run to something like this. But I just like things that are different, and this is very different. So I really, really enjoy this rifle. It's got some weight on it, by the way. So what would pair perfectly with the Hellion rifle is the Springfield Armory Echelon. They took basically nothing from the XD series and made an entirely new pistol. And this thing is one of the more surprisingly awesome pistols I've reviewed this year. It's got a couple of really unique features. They have their adaptive grip texturing. So basically it's a 2-layer grip texturing, which allows you to get a really good bite on the gun once you're in a firing position. But it's also very smooth to the touch if you use it for concealed carry or whatever. So it's not going to rub you raw. Picatinny rail. They've actually used a tapered slide here, so this really allows you to get a really nice bite. If you're going to do your press checks and stuff, you got a ledge in the front, ledge in the back. Nice yellow dot up front with the tritium insert. I don't like the rear sights. I'm not a fan of U-notch style sights. It's kind of like a Glock rear sight, to be honest with you. And it uses their Viz system. So this allows you to mount any optic. I think it's up to 30 without the need for plates. This is one of the more significant upgrades and developments that a pistol company came out with this year, because that's been one of the bigger issues when it comes to trying to mount optics to pistols. You need this plate, this adapter, this plate, blah, blah, blah. With this system, you don't need that. And so that is really, really awesome. And where this thing really shines, to be honest with you, is just at the range. It does a fantastic job. I've paired it up with the Trijicon SRO, and this setup altogether is really fantastic. So if you need a pistol rifle combo from Springfield Armory, this is the way to go. The XD series was good for a while. It was never my favorite gun, but they really fixed everything about the XD and really made a superior pistol in the Echelon. Now it's time to pull out the big guns. This is the SCAR 17. And you know, no matter if you're a gamer, no matter if you just love cool guns, the SCAR is amongst one of the coolest. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, man. I've ran this rifle now. I think this is my second or third year owning it. You know, the rear sight has popped off on me. There's some things I don't like about it. And I hate to preface this gun with a little bit of negative, but I just want you to see where I'm coming from. You know, this rear stock is just garbage. I know people call it an UGG boot and whatever. It's ugly, and it just doesn't belong on a rifle of this caliber. But when it comes to a 308 that I will never get rid of, this is the gun. Because not only does it have the cool factor, it also is super accurate. Now, since I bought this one, you have the non-reciprocating versions. You have the SCAR 20, which is more of a bench gun or, you know, long-range shooting type of gun. And so I would definitely go with at least the non-reciprocating version. They've also come out with a pistol version as well. So that's something you could obviously run. Proprietary magazines. Everything about this gun is expensive, and you want to make sure that you run a good mount for your optic, because this thing will chew them up, especially the reciprocating versions. Just keep that in mind. But again, I know it sounds like a lot of negative. It does have an adjustable gas system too. But I just try to be realistic with every gun that I own. And while it's not perfect, there's a lot you can do with it. And I'm so glad that I own the SCAR 17, because it is one of the cooler rifles out there. It's got a lot of nice features. Of course, it's got ambidextrous magazine release. It's got a decent trigger. Ambidextrous safety right there. We got rails up here that we can utilize. And like I said, they make newer versions of this gun. But overall, it's just a heavy-duty, long-range freaking beast. Chambered in 308, shell deflector right there. Overall, I really, really love this rifle. Now, let me go ahead and say that even though the SCAR is a violent gun, you really only notice how smooth it is until you take a 308 out to the range that is not so smooth. And so I recently took the PTR 91, which is based on the G3, which is an HK style with the roller delayed blowback, just like the SP5. And that is a heavy felt recoil gun. So it was incredible when I shot that. Now that's a much older design, of course, the G3 is. And, you know, so there's some age gap there between a SCAR and a PTR 91, of course. But at the same time, you don't appreciate how smooth 308s have become until you shoot something like that. What would pair well with this, not only is it the same manufacturer, but almost the same color, that is the FNX 45 Tactical. Check it out. They're almost like little twins right there. So there's not too many guns in 45 that give you 15 rounds on tap, but the FNX 45 Tactical absolutely does. So it has higher sights to co-witness with your optic, and you got to remember, when this gun came out, putting optics on pistols wasn't the norm. And so they really were kind of ahead of their time when it came to things like this. Front and rear slide serrations, it's double to single action only. Not only do you have a decocker, but you also have a safety right there. It's threaded, so you can run any kind of, you know, muzzle device, whatever you want to put on there. Ambidextrous magazine release. Comes with 3 magazines. Comes with an entire kit. Comes with plates and all that kind of stuff. It even comes with its own little suppressor bag if you decide to get a 45 can. It is a big honkin' 45 that, honestly, you know, it's not my favorite shooting gun, but I just really love how cool this gun is. I love how effing, at a time where not a lot of companies were doing anything like this, they pushed the bar when it came to 45 pistols. And when I say this with all due respect, but they basically made the 1911 obsolete in a way because, you know, your round count and all that. And it's got a pretty decent trigger on it too. Decent double action, pretty good single action. Overall, the FNX 45 Tactical pairs absolutely perfectly with the SCAR 17, the SCAR 16, or even the SCAR 20. So we've covered some higher end options. We've also covered some mid-range options like the Meta Tactical with the M&P. Here's another lower range option. And when I say lower range, of course, you know, PCCs and stuff are pretty expensive most of the time. Good ones are anyways. But the FPC, the folding pistol carbine, is one of those ones that really has a lot of practical uses as a survival gun. Of course, it does fold just like that, and it folds off to the side so you can mount any number of optics. I actually took my optic off of this and threw it on my Vector here recently. That's why I don't have one on here, but it has plenty of Picatinny rail space. It has plenty of M-lock here. It's threaded 1/2x28, 16-inch barrel. I think it's a 16.5-inch barrel actually. And it uses standard M&P mags. So competitor mags, any M&P mag will go right there in the grip, and we actually have the ability to store magazines in the stock as well. So that is a pretty cool feature. Has a charging handle right here in the rear, so you can work it just like that. Folding mechanism right there, and it has that same flat face trigger that all of the M&P pistols are now coming with. Crossbolt style safety right here. So overall, it is a really awesome, like, backpack type of gun, survival gun. You know, if you're going somewhere and you need a really compact package, but then you can fold it out into a 16-inch barrel and get more velocity and better range, this is something that would work really well. And because it uses the same magazines as your M&P pistol, one of the best mates to this rifle would be pretty much any M&P pistol. I got the M&P Performance Center right here. If you saw me hesitate when I was talking about how the new M&P triggers are better than the old ones, except for the PC tune triggers, this is the gun that I was referring to, because even though it's got that little bit older trigger, when the Performance Center gets a hold of these things, they make them really, really awesome. It's actually ported on the top. It's got the lightning cuts, ported barrel. It is one of the best shooting pistols that I own. And that goes for all pistols, steel frame or polymer frame. It really is on another level of accuracy. And so the M&P and the FPC made up really well. These two work absolutely perfect together. Not only do the new ones use the same trigger, flat face trigger, as the FPC, but they use the same magazine, so the battery of arms, although it's different between the rifle and the pistol, the feel of the gun, the triggers, and the magazines are all the same, and that makes these two a perfect pair. And the last one that we're going to go over, this is the SIG MCX Spear LT. So you have the Spear, which is a 308 rifle. You have the Spear LT, 300 Blackout, 5.56, or this one is 7.62 by 39. You got a 28 round magazine right there. You can see I have the forward grip, adjustable gas system, piston driven. And when it comes to the world of 7.62 rifles, it doesn't get much better than this, because if you're ever like, man, I don't like the battery of arms of AKs, well, this kind of combines all of those things into one rifle that's usable, especially for the American market. Ambidextrous magazine release on both sides right there. They have the SIG flat face trigger. And then of course it has the battery of arms like an AR. Raptor style charging handle in the rear, so it has the bigger levers back there. It also has this lever right here, which will actually drop the bolt for you. So super ergonomic. And again, if you're somebody that likes the 7.62 round, but you want the controls of an AR, this is your rifle. And because it doesn't have a buffer tube, it actually has a side folding stock as well, making transportation even easier. Really awesome design, and I love the coloration that they use, man. It's like that copper coyote coloration. It just looks really awesome. And again, I've reviewed all of these guns separately on the channel, so if you want to know anything else about them, check out my reviews and you will get all the details. M-Lock, of course, this is one of my favorite rifles. Actually, it's probably my favorite rifle I've reviewed so far. And I've reviewed some pretty cool ones, but even I like this better than the Scar, honestly. And what I appreciate about this gun is, even though it's expensive, they did everything right. There's nothing on this gun that I'd be like, ugh, I really got to change that because it sucks. They did everything really good on this gun, and so I really appreciate everything about it, honestly. By the way, I have this primary arms 1-10 by 28. One of the best optics I have ever used, hands down. It really is an awesome piece of glass. So if you're looking for a better long range option, that's a really good one. So what would pair good with the MCX Spear LT? Well, I chose the Spectra Comp P320. Got a single port comp in the front, TIN gold barrel in trigger, and they basically take a P320 and customize every aspect of it and make it the best P320 it can possibly be. Now, one exception to this, maybe one thing that would be a little bit better than this, would be like the Scorpion 1911s. Those are really cool. I don't have one of those, so I chose the P320 Spectra Comp. I did a review on this gun as well, of course, and it just takes the P320 platform to a whole nother level. It really is that good. AXG, laser engraved grip, extended mags, and it really is just an awesome gun. So you might have to take out a second mortgage for this combo right here. It is amongst one of the more expensive ones I've showed, but definitely something that's very cool, and two guns you can really be proud of, and that do a fantastic job in the world of pistol rifle combos. So there you go, man. I got some budget options, got some higher end options, got some more mid-grade options for y'all. I'd love to hear your favorite pistol rifle combo. Maybe I'll use those in a part 2 if y'all like this type of video. And if you do, let me know by subscribing to the channel, drop a like on the video if you like it, and you could join us on Patreon or subscribe right here on YouTube and never have to leave the platform, get some cool perks along the way. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.